chapter lesson reviews part 4 of the N-400 application. If you have a copy of your original N-400, please have it with you during this lesson to follow along. Remember, during your interview, the interviewing officer will have a copy of the exact application you sent the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. Part 4 of the N-400 asks for general information about your address. Your interviewer might use these questions to contact you when they need to. We will be looking at different ways the questions can be expressed or asked. There is more than one way to ask the same question. You will have to make sure you can spell correctly information about your complete address. We will help you understand each question and vocabulary. Remember to answer all questions fully and accurately. Let's get familiar with the following words. Care of, different from, P.O. Box. In this part of the N-400, you will have to memorize different names and numbers about where you live. Part 4, Section A, will ask general information about your address. You must give the address where you now live. You cannot give a P.O. box as a home address. A P.O. box is only for mailing purposes. You might be asked to give details about your address, including the state, country, city, or county you live in. Often people are asked to spell the details of their address, like their state or city. At this point, many people are asked to show identification. Driver licenses, passports, and permanent resident cards are all examples of acceptable forms of ID. It is important to understand the difference between being instructed to show an ID and being asked if you have an ID. Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 4 about your home address. What is your home address? Has your address changed since you sent the application? What is your address right now? What is your street address? Where do you live? Do you have a different mailing address? Where do you receive your mail? What is the number of your building or home? What is your apartment number? Is there an apartment number in your address? What city do you live in? What is your city? What county do you live in? What state do you live in? What is your zip code? What country do you live in? Spell the city you live in. Spell the county you live in. Spell the state you live in. Do you still receive mail? If your mailing address is the same as your home address, then you do not need to worry about these questions. For others, however, their mailing address is different from their home address. For example, you might get your mail at the post office with a P.O. box. Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 4, Section B, about your mailing address. What is your mailing address? Is your mailing address the same as your home address? Do you have a P.O. box? In Part 4, Section C, you will be asked your telephone number and email address. By giving the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services your telephone number and email address, they might be able to contact you about your application more quickly. You might have a home phone number or work phone number. Make sure to memorize each. Do not forget your area code. Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 4 about your telephone number and email address. What is your telephone number? What is your home phone number? What is your cellular phone number? Do you have an email address? What is your email address? Spell your email address. To test what you just learned in this video chapter lesson, be sure to watch our practice interview videos.